All right, in this video, I'm going to be going over your quiz for the 5 fence posts receding back into the distance in 1-point perspective. I already started here. I've already got my horizon line labeled, my vanishing point labeled. So now I'm going to begin. Now remember, this comes from the perspective book on pages 28 through 30. If you happen to have the old version of the book, that's going to be pages, 26 through 28. It's 2 pages behind. But most of y'all probably have the new book. So it's pages 28 through 30. Definitely look at that because these quizzes that you guys are going to have on Friday are going to be a little bit more in depth than you're used to. So you are going to want to study. So for this, you're going to start with your first fence post. You get to choose where you place it, how big it is. This is going to be my fence post right here. To keep in consistency with what the book has, I'm just going to keep it below the horizon line there. I'm going to put little dots on the top and the bottom so you can see definitively where the top and the bottom are. Okay, so that is my first fence post. Now we have the top and the bottom. You're going to want to bring those back to the vanishing point to act as guidelines for the rest of the fence posts. They're going to be guidelines that dictate the tops and the bottoms of the following fence posts. There we go. All right. So that's fence post number 1. There we go. Now for your second fence post, remember this, you can choose wherever you want to put your second fence post. Okay, so remember that. There's no formula for the second fence post. You can put it wherever you want. I'm going to put my fence post right here. Now, remember those guidelines that we drew going back to the vanishing point. Don't have your fence post exceed above or below those guidelines. It needs to stay within those to have the accurate distance going back there to the vanishing point in 1-point perspective. Of course, this assumes that all the fence posts are the same height in reality, but we are going to assume that in theory as we draw this out. So we have our first fence post, we have our second fence post. Okay, right there. So here's how you find the third fence post and all the other ones that you would make after that. You're going to go back to your first fence post. You're going to visually assess where the midpoint is. You don't have to measure it. You don't have to do this. You don't have to use a ruler. That might help you. You can if you want, but visually assess where the midway point is. Take that midway point of your first fence post and bring that back to the vanishing point. You're going to end up with something that looks like this. Okay, just like that. All right, so now what has happened is that midpoint of the first fence post has given us an intersection in the middle of the second fence post. I'm going to place a dot right there so you can see it. And what you do now is you're going to take the top of the first fence post and you are going to connect it diagonally through the intersection of the middle of that second fence post. And you're going to stop right where it hits that guideline right there. This is the bottom of your third fence post. Oops. You're now going to keep your ruler straight. Make sure that all of these fence posts are vertical, by the way. Don't be angling your ruler. Learn to keep your ruler straight, no matter how much the other elements might be at an angle. Okay, so that was our third fence post right there. Okay, the fourth and all the rest are going to be done in the same way where you look at the previous fence post. So now we're working on fence post 4, right? We have fence post 1, 2, and 3. So now we need to draw a line from the previous fence post, so that's going to be fence post 2, through the intersection of fence post 3 to hit the bottom where fence post 4 is going to be. So we've got that intersection right there. Like that, boom. This is going to be fence post 4. Notice how they are not only decreasing in height visually as they go back to the vanishing point, but they are also decreasing in the amount of space between them as they go back to the vanishing point. And that is what we're calculating out here. So we've got one last one, because on your quiz, I'm going to ask you for 5. So again, how you do that is you look at the previous fence post. So this one, fence post 3. Connect that through that middle intersection of fence post 4 to find the bottom of fence post 5. Boop. And you could keep going with this. You could have more than 5 if you wanted, but I'm only going to ask you for 5, so I'm only going to demo 5. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fence posts. On your quiz, I'm going to allow you to just keep all the lines. You don't have to worry about erasing what we wouldn't see in reality. Certainly, though, if you wanted to think that far, we would just see this. We would just see that. Just see this, just see this, and just see that. Okay, those are our 5 fence posts.